Welcome to the tomb of illumination. Have you heard of quantum entanglement? Yeah. Well, if you scrape away all the BS that Einstein and his cronies, his minders, brought about in the early 1900s, you can understand what they mean. It's quite easy actually. Once you understand the realm we live in is all based on magnetism. Everything they won't tell you and don't tell you, they certainly won't teach it at school. It's something that a guy called Nigel Cheese mentioned a while ago, and we don't see much of him now, and he got totally ridiculed because you're not allowed to expose the truth. He mentioned the magnetic cycle being 720 degrees, and I'm the only other guy that was exposing that, and now we've got a series of magnetic to do with magnetism on YouTube at the moment. Mario, blah blah blah. They're sort of starting to expose it a bit now, but I think they're part of the system because it's all well done, all the 3D imaging and everything, but they keep throwing the globe in there, so it's part of the system. So what they're doing is they're leaking out the truth, and sooner or later it's all going to be exposed that the earth is definitely flat, because you can't deny it. The true physics of earth, you can't deny it, you can't hide it, and it doesn't fit with the globe. So this quantum entanglement is basically it's part of the dual system of our realm, because our realm is dual, male and female, and its foundation is magnetism. So grouped in there with magnetism, you've got up, down, in, out, day, night. It's all dual. Okay, even the male himself is dual, and this is what religion's all about. It's about the male, because he's dual. He's male and female. He's the X and Y chromosome. Okay. But the quantum entanglement, a good example is understanding the difference between, understanding magnetism to starters, but I'll give you a simple one. In the night sky, if you're in any hemisphere, you look up at Orion's belt, specifically this time of the year, and you'll notice there's 4 main stars that stretch out to create a cross or a T. And you'll find, depending on which hemisphere you're in, if I'm in the southern hemisphere, I look north, and below Orion's belt will be the northern hemisphere. So you've got 2 stars in that cross there, and if I come back up on my side of the Orion's belt, there's two stars, right? Now on the southern side, like I've explained in many of my videos, that our whole realm expands out to the south. This is why we have the Gleason map. Okay, that's showing the expansion, but then Mercator has converted it back to reality, which shows us that every latitude, 15 degrees longitude, is all equal. Because of this expansion, we're all expanding with the field. Okay, so we can use both those maps. Doesn't work on a globe. So this is why these 2 stars on my southern side are slightly spread apart more than the 2 on the northern side. Okay, so there's understanding that. But then you've got to understand that Rigel is actually Aldebaran, or Aldebaran is Rigel, and Sirius is Betelgeuse. Okay, got that right, I think. Oh, sorry. No, Rigel is Betelgeuse, and Sirius is Aldebaran, and they flip diagonally depending on which hemisphere you're in. But realize at all times they are the same stars. So you could say there's an example of quantum entanglement, the opposite, the other part of it. So you can think of it as male and female, or weak force and strong force. And no physicist is going to explain any of this to you, okay? Now here's another, well, first you need to understand a magnetic cycle and magnetism. It's a 720 degree, it's two 360s, because each hemisphere of our Earth has its own magnetic cycle. Both Arctics are North Poles, and they swing around to go back to their poles. So just like you see in meteorology, the solar winds, they bring the field around, curve it around to the tropical boundaries, their respective tropical boundaries. But the whole, in relation to the celestial bodies, they continue right around like this. That's one way to consider it, but that's not concrete. You've got to realise this rotation in the north sends these stars all the way around. But if you talk about like filming and star trail photography and fix the camera on a meridian, you get the rotation, which is basically going like this all the time. But they're not the same stars, because they're always coming in and going out. Just back it up. You've got to realise each hemisphere has its own magnetic cycle, okay? Both Arctics are North Poles, both tropical boundaries are their South Poles. They drift to the south. Just like in meteorology, the solar winds bring it round like this. This is what it's doing. But you've got to imagine, as this turning, this one is going all the way around the south. It's not just going like that. But look, you can do star trails like that, but they're not the same stars. Because as this is turning, it's driving the star all the way around. So they're continuously coming into this rotation here. So you get the star trail rotation, because this is continuously turning, projecting all the stars out. So our realm has two cycles, a 320 degree cycle. And the overall magnetic cycle is the infinity cycle that goes like this. That's 720 degrees if you consider it in 3D. And it's going deep, but I'm going to show you something here. Look, this is what happens back at the centre Arctic. Earth is like a ring magnet. That's the sun. The sun sits on the horizon of the black hole. And it enjoys moving around the hole. It's magnetically locked around the hole like this. And this is what it does. And this turning is via the convection with our two hemispheres and the winds, the solar winds. Okay, and it all comes down to, it creates cold fusion plasma. Because in the centre Arctic, you've got the two forces coming together, spinning together. And it's all to do with the warmth coming from the tropics and the cold coming up off the Arctic. So coming in from the top side is the warm air from the tropics through the Milky Way. The Milky Way comes over and dips down into the centre Arctic. That's the warm air. And then you've got the cold air spiralling up to meet it off the Arctic. And that's bang, where they hit is the pure unseen plasma, basically the father, the creator of our realm. The king, the queen bee, hidden from us. And we're doing all the work for it, like the earthly system doing all the work and feeding it. Like a swarm of bees, they go out and do their work and feed the queen bee. Well, we don't see it because it's right in the middle of the Arctic, beyond our realm. It's magnetically locked in there. So you've got this magnetic induction happening around in the dielectric zone of the tropical boundary, tropics there, and exactly where the sun is, where the Milky Way is, because our image of the sun is at the end of the Milky Way, and the energy is being created there, where the two fields find the energy between the differences. There's a difference in the hemispheres here, potential energy difference. They find equilibrium, like physicists call pairing, right there at that spot. And that pairing feeds, it's like what do they call it when they break it down to feed the plasma sun? Isotopes. Because the atmosphere has risen right up high, they get shredded and they find the pairing. And that's what feeds up through the Milky Way to feed the whole and the pure plasma sun. So that keeps driving the internal system. So back there in the Arctic centre is the sun sitting on the horizon of the hole going around due to the convection that's turning the central vortex. That drives the whole thing, okay? And that driving like that, as the straw sticking out, the Milky Way, racing around its rim, which is basically the sun. You can say that's the Milky Way, racing around like that. And it sticks out like this, like a clock arm. And you could say the hand out here is the sun we see in the tropics. We don't actually see it. Only in the tropics you'd see the sun in the tropics. Anywhere else in our realm, at that particular time of the day is where the sun is. Particular sun. On a curved magnetic field line coming out. And it's all projected back to the individual observer through the parabolic shape of the torus field. Is the concave mirror effect, the moisture in the mirror, moisture, the concave toroidal field. So that's how the sun sits, right? It doesn't sit this way, it won't sit there like that. You turn it around. So it's all to do with getting your polarities right. And it comfortably sits there. Bit off balance, maybe it'll fall over, but yeah, and you turn it and it'll stay there. So it's magnetically locked. It can't drift off this way. Look, it's stuck. And it can't fall in the hole. All this bullshit they tell you, oh, fall in the hole, the sun will fall in the hole. yeah, right. Yeah, all the stuff you taught at school is total bullshit, eh? So there's your sun. And so that's how it works. Now you've got to understand, between here and there is 720 degrees. Because splitting the two fields here is the dielectric. Okay, because you've got a black hole at the centre basically, and then out in our realm it has to be imitated. So we have the tropical boundary, the tropics. The tropics is basically imitating the black hole. It's the dielectric. It's just it's a lot weaker, of course, but anyway. But you consider the tropical zone as the dielectric or an exploded view of the black hole. Because right in the centre there, the size of an apple, the size of a peanut and nothing, whatever, is your micro, and we are in the macro, okay? So between there and there is also, I don't know, I'll probably guess a 50% reduction. Whatever the strength this is, that would be 50% less in strength. But anyway, in there, there's an avoidance zone between there and there. You've got the cycle going on this side of the hemisphere and a cycle going on this side of the hemisphere, on the southern hemisphere. But remember, when this one turns, this is turning, it's driving this one around. Now, inversion, you've got to understand, that's the daily cycle, but the yearly cycle is contraction and expansion. So the tropical year is drawing in and out, just like the human heart does. It's a vortex, draws the system in or out. As the system comes in, it's expanding out south. It's sort of works backwards, vice versa. So if you, like when you're breathing in, like you're releasing all your air's going out, but you're breathing in, like you're drawing it in, and what are you doing? You're drawing it in, but you're expanding the lungs. You know what I mean? Vice versa. This is what happened with the tropical year. You can't deny it. The flat earth system makes sense compared to the globe. See, the globe has their have all their longitudes curving like this, expanding to the tropics, and then shrinking. What known physics expands and then contracts back in itself, but yet keeps its shape? It's just ludicrous. It just doesn't work. Everything expands out, but you've got to realise you're expanding with it. So even though they've shrunk the ball back to the Antarctica region, we have shrunk with it, you can say. But at the end of the day, no, we haven't. We've expanded with it. Everything expanded out. We expanded with it. So the distance out here is still the same distance as back in here. 15 degrees say. That 15 degrees is still the same time over distance as it is back here. I think that's enough for that video. Probably blew a few brains already, so thanks for watching. If you like this sort of stuff, check out the rest of the channel. Share it and spread the good news, because they've basically shut me down. No one's hardly ever seen my videos, so congratulations for getting this far.